What's up, guys? So recently I just started taking orders for the new jiu-jitsu gis that Origin's made. And while that's going on, I figured it would be kind of fun to share a story about how my partnership with Origin started, because it's actually kind of funny. It basically happened because because of a CrossFit coach who just kind of got under my skin a little bit. So I'll share that with you, and I'll actually show you the original gi that I got from him back in 2018. So let's go back to my office, and then I will show you guys the gi. So here's the gi. I'll tell you more about it in just a second. But let me first talk about the whole CrossFit thing. So check this out. Back in 2018, our gym still had a CrossFit affiliation, and me and my business partner Joe went up to Ohio to do our level 2 certifications. At the time, I still had my L1, my level 1 certification that I'd gotten some years back, and I didn't really do a whole lot with CrossFit, but you know, my buddy Joe did a ton with it, and we had a little CrossFit gym. So we went up to do our level 2s because I figured it would be fun. Like the level 1 certification was fun. It was something to do, and doing it with my buddy was kind of cool. So we go up there to Ohio to do this thing, and the first day of the certification was kind of a shit show. So we get there, and most of the coaches that were there were really cool, super cool, very inviting. But there was this one who was what I see as unnecessarily like critiquing people and nitpicking about little things, and being kind of negative to it. And again, I'm sort of sensitive to these things because I do this for a living, so I can tell when it's like this is a big deal versus you're probably just sort of digging at someone for some other reason that I don't understand with. And one time it happened with Joe. So Joe at the time was like really strong. This was getting towards like the peak of his strength as a human being, and like he was there and he was doing a squat and he had good squat form, no problem at all. And the coach there that was there critiquing him, he looks at him and he goes, "Man, your squat form," and he starts just talking about how bad it is. And he says, "Man, with that kind of squat form, you would be lucky to get like 225 and put it on your back and squat." Now, mind you, Joe at this period is squatting like 550 pounds plus. I mean, massively strong human being, right? Doing all kinds of crazy lifts and stuff. So me, I'm sitting there with my little PVC pipe that we have to work with, and I kind of laugh. And he like turns towards me, and then he sort of projects his buffoonery onto me. It's kind of a fun word, isn't it? Buffoonery. And so he starts to go on about, this and that, and then he makes me do it. And obviously, I don't have the best form for lifting. I'm not bad, but again, there's stuff that you could definitely pick apart, and he starts picking apart and makes me do a bunch of different stuff. And so I was kind of over it. I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this, because at this stage in my life, if I don't have to do something, I don't do it. Unless I have to. I mean, like, I got to do some things like pay taxes and stuff. You don't get out of that. But like going to this CrossFit level 2 was just fun for me to hang out with my friends. I'm not going to go back the second day. So me and Joe, we all get dinner and stuff. We go back to the hotel, and my buddy Joe and one of his coaches they were studying for the next day. And I kind of looked at him and said, "Guys, I'm not doing this. I'm going to just go ahead and, just like find an open mat or something to go to tomorrow. You guys can go do the seminar. I'm going to go train jiu-jitsu." Now, let's rewind just a little bit more. About a year before this, one of the representatives from Origin, who lived in Ohio at the time, had been talking to me about doing a partnership. I was like, sure, we'll get around to it. And I just was so busy at the time, I never did. And it just so happened that when I put up a Instagram message saying, "Hey guys, are there any open mats in the area?" She was like, "Hey, you're in the area. Why don't we meet up and talk about this partnership?" And I was like, well, I got time to kill. Come on down. So she came to the hotel, and we began chatting about this thing. And I told her that I was interested because, Origin making American gis or American-made gis, that sort of touched me a little bit. I was like, I want to support that, but I got to try the gi. I can't talk about being partnered with something if I don't believe in that product, right? That's kind of a biggie for me. Anytime you guys see me like selling something, whether it be one of my products or even like doing affiliates for like things like Charlotte's Web or Manscaped or anything, I use all those products. It's not like I don't use them. I actually use all of them. Because if like Eugene and I for the podcast, we get all kinds of stuff for the podcast. And for the YouTube, I get all kinds of people messaging me about like doing video reviews or whatever for their stuff. And I'm like, well, I need to actually use it before I can do that. I can't just talk about something, because for me, trust is a fragile thing, right? Like, it's very valuable to have the trust of someone, but it's a fragile thing where if you abuse it, if you don't take care of it, it breaks, and it's hard to put that back together. And so again, just letting you know where I come from, because I consider you guys that watch me on these videos and stuff like that, you're kind of an extension of my students, because my students watch the videos, and so if I talk about something, they're going to buy it. I don't want to screw my students over, and I don't want to screw you over either. So Side tangent. So it's like, I got to use the gi. So she said, no problem. She gives me the gi. And this was the first one I got back in 2018. And the gi was amazing. I used it and I loved it. And it was like so bad. I remember in particular, I don't know about you guys, but like jiu-jitsu pants are like the bane of my existence in grappling sometimes. They make it hard to shoot. They don't really fit me right. A lot of times they're either too long or they bunch up a little bit. And I don't know, it's not my favorite thing. These pants, when I put these suckers on, it was amazing. They were so like mobile. I remember that week when I was training, I had never worn a pair of jiu-jitsu pants where I felt like I could shoot like I do in wrestling. And I was shooting so much for like a week or two that I ended up giving myself some tendonitis in my patella. But I loved their pants. And then their gi, you know, she was telling me about some of the stuff. And, you know, sometimes people talk about gis and I'm like, okay, whatever. You know, and like, or they talk about products and I feel like it's just, you know, hyperbole, right? Because they're trying to sell something. But I loved the gi. My favorite thing about the darn gi, and you'll be able to see this probably through here, is if you get close enough, let's see if we can do it here. You can't really see, it's not that great. But basically, if you get close enough, you'll actually be able to see through this gi a little bit. Basically, it's almost like a pearl weave, but it's got this moisture wicking thing where it keeps it slightly open. So even like on the hot, sweaty days in the middle of the summer, like, and again, I'm in Kentucky, we get really muggy, humid summers. This gi doesn't hold water like a lot of my traditional gis do. It stays relatively dry. I mean, it still gets damp, but it's not like soggy, like a soggy mess where you take it off. Like, I remember like, if anybody's watched Dragon Ball Z when they were kids, I remember like taking my gi off, like if I take my, like a normal like gi off and I like, after a hot sweaty training session, I throw it to the side, it drops with a thud, and it makes me think about like when Goku had he'd wear the weighted vests and stuff like that. They're super heavy. This one, I can have a really heavy, like hard session in the summer. It doesn't drop like that. It doesn't hold that kind of water. So it's pretty cool, both like literally and figuratively. It's very cool. But again, that is how the partnership with Origin happened. Basically, if it wasn't for the fact that I mean, maybe it would have happened at some point, but it wouldn't have happened when it did. If it wasn't for the CrossFit Coach that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, I would have never put up that message to go to do an open mat, and this gi would have never probably happened. And the gis that we have available for you would have never happened. By the way, if you guys want to get one, the gi is based off of this model, the Comp Athleta, which is basically a lighter weight gi, but still strong enough to get the job done. And again, I'm a big fan of it, huge fan of the product, and so that's why I'm sharing it with you guys. But again, just a fun short story to share with you. And if you guys want to get one of the gis, you can check the links down below. Hope you guys are doing well. I'll talk to you guys next time.